You consider yourself a Zionist?
Yes, of course.
You are a Muslim Turkish woman who is a Zionist.
Yes. He just asked me and I said, yes, I'm a Zionist. And then just went viral in Turkey. You don't say I'm a Zionist if you're Turkish. It's not like, I never heard in my life someone just said it. Even like Jews in Turkey, they never said it. And they made conspiracy theories about me, including the journalists. They targeted my family, their pictures, our home location and everything. And then in the end, I received an arrest warrant.
Do you regret that? Do you regret saying that?
Without saying my truth opinion, I cannot do it. This is what I think.
Hello and welcome to this new episode of East to West. And today we have a special guest, a Turkish student actually in Israel, living in Israel and studying in Israel. We are here with Türkü Avci. I hope that I'm saying the name right.
Yes, yes.
How do you say it in Turkish?
Türkü Avci.
Okay, I wouldn't be able to do that. But it's very special that you're here. We don't encounter many Turkish students, Muslims that are living in Israel and studying in Israel. So how was it like to grow up in Turkey?
It was nice. I had a beautiful childhood. And I am coming from a secular house. And I went to secular schools as well. And it was different than today. I think today children, they experience different Turkey than I did.
Really? I mean, Turkey, everybody thinks that Turkey, like the new nation state of Turkey is actually very secular. But was it that heavy, the influence of Erdoğan and the recent political movement?
It happened like slowly. When it happened, we feel it, but we don't really feel that it's going to come to today. But when you compare today's Turkey and like Turkey that was 15 years ago, 20 years ago, it's quite different. Like, I feel like we do everything to satisfy East, like Arabs, like even the TV programs. When I grew up, we had like comedy shows and like fun stuff. But now all of our TV shows, even just to sell the Arab words, and there's nothing for actually Turkish people in like schools. They're not secular anymore. And
But on the other hand, I mean, Erdoğan is an elected official, even though that we're talking about free elections, but not fair elections, as somebody would actually call this. But still, he's popular, let's say.
Yeah, I don't know if he's still popular, but he was. Yeah, I cannot deny that. Especially his first 2-3 elections, he won with like great gap between his opposition. But today he's not, because of the economy, because everything is going on in Turkey. This is why he's actually today he's more tough than he used to be, because he knows if he would go to election, he might lose.
And one more thing that changed in Turkey, maybe not dramatically, you tell me, the view of Israel, because in the beginning of the 2000s, and even before that, Israel was a friend of Turkey. But now, after the Marmara, and of course, after the war in Gaza, things are changing and things have changed. Did you sense that? Explain to me what happened with this topic.
Before Erdoğan, even though there were strong pro-Palestinian voices in Turkey, the governments, they were really careful about their relations with Israel, because the cooperation with Israel was important in northern Iraq, in Syria. We had different policies, but with Erdoğan, it changed and it became like a political stance. And I see it as a Lebanization, like become a Lebanon. And
why are you describing it this way?
Because Erdoğan wants to radicalize Turkey, change the secular constitution, and the constitution is actually still secular. And the best way to do it is follow the way of Lebanon, because Lebanon wouldn't be today's Lebanon without the Palestinian issue, if they wouldn't take lots of Palestinian refugees, if they wouldn't...
So you're saying that Erdoğan is using the Palestinian issue, that's what you're saying?
Of course, yes.
And did the Marmara incident change that, or was it, unrelated to this?
It also changed, yeah, but even without that, I think we would be in this point.
And what changed your views on Israel? Because you have a different view.
Yeah. So as I'm coming from a leftist house, and because of the leftist reasons they had, my family was also pro-Palestinian, and also my relatives, they're religious Muslims, and they were pro-Palestinian because of the religious reasons. But me, like after like certain age, I start questioning, and I start seeing that this is a political agenda. They're using it as to achieve something. It's not because we really care about Palestinian lives. There was a Yazidi genocide right next to us, and no one talked about it for years, and I'm pretty sure no one knows about it in Turkey. So, and with using the Palestinian cause, they're just involving our lives and telling us what to do, what not to do. So I think seeing that kind of changed my mind.
And did your opinion, the new opinion, caused any, astonishment among the people around you? How did people, responded to this? It started when you were in Turkey, not after moving here.
Yes, they were like, it's different. When I was here and I started being vocal about Israel, they were like, Turkey really changed, and like, why you do this? It's not your country, and they couldn't really get it. And when I was in Turkey, it was like they couldn't really agree with me, and they said like, how can you support Israel, like such a country? And sometimes I also get like good approaches, but not most of the time.
And it went also, worse because you have an arrest warrant right now.
Yes.
Right? Tell us about this.
So I did a video a couple weeks ago, and I said I'm a Zionist, I'm Turkish, and you don't say I'm a Zionist if you're Turkish. It's not like, I never heard in my life someone just said it. Even like Jews in Turkey, they never said it. And I don't know, he just asked me, and I said yes, I'm a Zionist, and then it just went viral in Turkey, and people didn't stop talking about it for 3-4 days, and they made conspiracy theories about me, including the journalists, really like high profile journalists. Instead of like reaching me out and say like, what's going on, why you're calling yourself Zionist, they wrote conspiracy theories, and they targeted my family, their pictures, our home location and everything. And then in the end, I received an arrest warrant.
You received an arrest warrant from the government, of course.
Yeah.
How did that reach from, your own opinion to receiving an arrest warrant on the other hand?
It's not something I surprised. When I started doing this, I knew it's a possibility, because not just because saying a Zionist, whatever you say against the government's opinion, you can face with an arrest warrant today.
So basically the government believed what you describe as a conspiracy theory, that you are involved in Israeli politics or affairs, or I don't know, Mossad agent maybe, something like this.
Yeah.
So that's why they want to arrest you and interrogate you.
Maybe they want people to believe that I'm a conspiracy theory. This is why they issued the arrest warrant.
And do you regret that? Do you regret saying that after the backlash that you are facing?
No, because I want to be a journalist, and I want to be an activist, and without saying my truth opinion, I cannot do it. And this is what I think. And it's really difficult, and it's still difficult. But at the same time, I'm happy it happened, because now I have an arrest warrant and I have nothing to lose, and whatever happened just happened. Yeah.
Well, but how dangerous is this? I mean, do you feel threatened? To which point?
About my family.
Yes.
I scare for my family, because they have nothing to do with this. They never been to Israel. They never spoke about Israel. Like my father, he was actually like against Israel. When he was young, he was in protest. So they have nothing to do with this. But still, because their daughter said something she shouldn't say, now they're the target. And but for a while, I also scared in Israel, because they also said like, we're gonna find you in Jerusalem and etc. But then I saw so many support from Israelis. They were like, no one can touch you. It's impossible here. So now I'm relieved. It's just I'm scared because I cannot see my future. Now I cannot go back to Turkey, and I'm here with a student visa. I cannot work. It's just, I feel like I'm in the air.
Absolutely. And that wouldn't happen, of course, without a perspective that the Turkish people have on Israel. What shapes that? I mean, is it the media? Is it, of course, the war in Gaza? But even before that, what changed, or exactly what shapes this perspective of the Turkish people?
Of course, the media. Media is like terrible. They never show the Israeli side, and it's all about conspiracy theories. And but also the campus works and the streets, and also, they've been working for years. It's not just happened after October 7. It started in 70s in university campuses with the left-wing movement, with Yasser Arafat. And then afterwards, after the 90s, it became a religious movement, and they start going to the homes. They start talking about it in mosques. My mother went to a funeral recently, and she said even in the funeral, before they start praying, they talk about Palestine. Like, so they're in the homes, they're with families. It's just everywhere.
And do you think that there is a political actually interest behind this that goes beyond the Palestinian issue? What does Erdoğan or the current ruling party gain from this hostility that he incites among Turkish people against Israel?
As I said, radicalize the Turkey. You become more radicalized, like Lebanon, actually, 100%. And maybe he has plans to become like a new Iran. Maybe Iran is going to become the Turkey that was 15 years ago, and Turkey is going to become, unfortunately, Iran. I hope it's not going to happen, and I still believe it's not going to happen. But this is his agenda with the Palestinian issue. You can make Turkey a base of Hamas, Hezbollah, all kind of radicalized organizations, and no one can question about it because it's for Palestine. And you can take Palestinian refugees, which are ex-Hamas members and still Hamas members, and these were the people who involved in terror activities in Israel, and they're still directing terror activities from Turkey in Israel. And of course, this all radicalized Turkey, and at some point we are losing our freedom, our democracy, and just becoming a Middle Eastern corrupted country. And this is the agenda they have right now.
And are people rising up against this? I mean, how popular is this idea that Erdogan is trying to incite?
It's popular among the religious groups and really right-wing Islamist people, but I don't think they're more than 15 or 20%. And there are also pro-Palestinians who are left-wing and who are against Erdogan. And so I don't think this agenda is really popular, but I think at this point, it doesn't matter if it's popular or not. It works.
Mm-hmm.
They can come to our schools.
The opposition in Turkey has the same perspective?
No. Like, just before coming to here, I listen their thoughts about it. They are still pro-Palestinian. They have this stance, but they don't agree with sending Turkish troops to Gaza, or being in the same table with Trump or Netanyahu, or they're actually against Erdogan's policies with Trump on Gaza. So they have different state, and they want to be part of Europe. Mm-hmm. They don't want to be part of Middle East. Mm-hmm. So they just don't want to involve. Yeah.
I remember a few years ago, President Herzog, president of Israel, was actually in Turkey, and we've seen a red carpet in front of him. Alongside him was Erdogan, of course, entering the palace in Ankara, and also giving a joint press conference. I mean, what was happening back then? I mean, like the Marmara happened. There we have seen lots of hostilities, and then things changed back to tightening the relationship with Israel, even meeting with Netanyahu just a month or even less than a month before October 7th. What was happening back then?
Yeah, like the meeting with Herzog was just a couple months ago before October 7th, and he was actually shaking Netanyahu's hand.
With Netanyahu. With Herzog a few years ago that he visited Ankara.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he was shaking Netanyahu's hand like few weeks ago before October 7th, and right after October 7th, Netanyahu become Hitler or someone that he would never shake his hand.
How do you explain this? How do people explain this?
I think after October 7th, the Muslim Brotherhood and Qatar involved. And actually, right after October 7th, Erdoğan condemned the attack and gave like a neutral speech. And then I was also like shocked. And then a few days later, he completely changed his stance and became really against Israel. I think the influence of Qatar and Muslim Brotherhood, it also changed. And also he was losing his power in Turkey. He was losing the support because of the economy and everything. So it was a beautiful opportunity to just fire some
use this in order to
make propaganda and
change how people what people focus on, let's say.
Exactly.
That's what you're saying.
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Look, we're talking in days of very high tension in the Middle East, especially between the US and Iran, and we're seeing that Turkey is actually trying to prevent any escalation in the Middle East. How do you explain this? Because many people thought, at least, that Iran is the rival of Turkey, and we've seen, the rivalry happening, or the enmity, in Syria, especially. I mean, Iran was defeated in Syria by Turkey, and today we have a government in Syria that is more close to Turkey. Some people even say that Ahmad al-Shara is actually a puppet for the Turkish president. How do you explain this? Why Erdogan is trying to prevent any war, any regime change, any collapse of the Islamic Republic?
First of all, I don't understand our support to Iran. Like you said, Iranian government, they don't like us. They don't like Erdogan. They don't like our government because of Syria and everything you just mentioned. And for years,
Sunni Shia as well, right?
Exactly. Okay. And I don't understand why every time Erdogan has this positive approach to Iran, where he declared grief when he died, the leader of Iran, and
you mean the last president of Iran?
Yeah. Okay. And everyone was like, why we are doing this? They don't like us. Literally, they're our rival, and I think it's because he doesn't want to break the image of Islamic Republic is bad. It is good. Like he doesn't want to break this image. Like Islamic Republic is good, so we can also apply to our country because they are fighting with Israel. We can also fight with Israel. I think it's about protecting his image, his state image, and.
Some political analysts are also saying that Erdogan doesn't want the Islamic Republic to collapse, the regime in the Islamic Republic to collapse, because he doesn't want Israel to be the sole power or so powerful in the Middle East, so it can actually rival Turkey in that sense. Do you think this is the case as well?
It could be, yes. And also we have lots of American bases in Turkey. Like Turkey can be the target of the war. It's also dangerous for Turkey. And also, if Iran will collapse, that's not just for Turkey, for every Middle Eastern country, it's a danger. They will see a dictator can fall with the process and with people request.
So maybe people want to try to do the same in their own country.
Yes,
that's what you're saying.
I
That's
think
also something that Erdogan is afraid of. So let's go back to your story, and maybe we can actually finish with this. So what are you planning to do? Are you going to go back to Turkey if your legal status changes?
Of course, it's my home, and I love Turkey. But right now, it's not safe for me. And I think I'm going to apply for political asylum in Israel.
Okay.
And one day, hopefully, I will be able to fly back home.
Are you in contact with any officials in Israel regarding this?
No. Like, I applied, and I have a lawyer. She's a professor in my university, and we're just gonna go to the meeting and see.
All right. So for now, what's your message to the Turkish people as someone who's living in Israel?
My message to them, I want them to read the story of Lebanon. I think it's a great example for us. And I don't want them to support Israel or Palestine. I just want them to support their own country. And I want us to be the part of Europe, not part of Middle East. And for that, they need to be really, really careful with what they're supporting, who they're working with, what they're protesting for, and this protest, what those protests are helping. And they need to be really, really careful. Otherwise, we're really gonna be the new Islamic regime of Iran, and this is something gives me pain, and this will be my message.
Thank you so much, Turku Avci,
Yes,
for being here with us today. Thank you for your time.
thank you.